All right, and probably one of the more important lectures as well, we're going to concentrate on what it means to look at the XYZ homework account. Now, the people that already have this account know exactly what I'm talking about. The people that have never seen XYZ homework, there's going to be a bit of a learning curve to you guys here. And so be mindful of where you're at, where you need to go, what you need to do in regards to that here. So a little bit of a learning curve for some. I think probably years past here, about maybe 60-70% of students know what the XYZ homework account is, and about 30-40% of the class, there's a little bit of a learning curve here. So we switched publishers about 5 years ago, and we went to a publisher that had both a physical textbook to the course as well as online components to the class. And so XYZ Publishing technically does XYZ Homework. XYZHomework.com is where you're going to do all your homework stuff. You're going to do your chapter test here. So you're going to spend a lot of time on this website here. All right, so first of all, let me go to it here. Maybe I should do this here. I'm going to move this up a little bit here, just so you see. And there it is. You're going to go to xyzhomework.com. Again, there's not going to be, I can probably make some kind of link from the Canvas site that you guys can go to right away. That would be good. All right, so here's where you're going to do, again, all your online homework, everything else is going to be done over here. So you probably should get a good feel for how this works here. The first and foremost would be this right here. It's a getting started guide for students. And so if you're completely new to XYZ homework, this would be at least a good one to start with. It tells the whole concept of your username is going to be your email address. And then you also need a course ID. Now the course ID is 12297. Let's go for it here. So here's the Getting Started Guide. As a new student, if this is the first time you don't have a class at all, you've never known what this is, you go to the website, which we've done already. You're going to register as a new student. Now when you register, it's going to give you 14 days free trial version, or 15 days, sorry. So you really don't need to purchase anything, you just want to get logged in. And the two fields that you need is the email address and the course ID, which will be provided for me in a little bit here in this video. All right, those of you that already have an XYZ homework account, what you need to do is you just need to enroll in the class. So you're going to log in with your username and passcode like you've done in the past semesters. You're going to click on enroll in a new class. All you need from me is the course ID, again, which I'll give in just a bit. And then we go from there, and then you're enrolled. And then you'll see the calendar, you'll see everything else that you see inside the class itself. All right, so there's the Getting Started Guide. Let's go back. New students, you're going to register as a new student. And again, first name, last name, email address, which will be also your login. Create a passcode for yourself. Confirm it, say I agree, register. After that is done, you're going to have two things. I'm not going to register it because I don't have the passcode stuff here. It's going to ask for two things. First is a access code. An access code, that's what you're going to purchase if you're going to stay in the class. You're going to purchase it. It's $45 for a 15-month subscription. All right. With that, you're good there. Then you're going to have a course ID number, which I'll give you in just a bit here. All right. But do you need to purchase? Do you need any of that? Do you need the access code? No, because you have 15 days of free trial. So that'll take you all the way to census date. Then you can decide whether you want to stay in the class or not. Okay, so you'll have that. The only other issue is that you only have access to Chapter 1, and we're only going to do 1.4 off of Chapter 1. So it kind of gives you almost like enough material for next week. Once you get to Chapter 2, you do have to purchase the Access Pass if you decide to stay in the class here. All right, let's go back. All right, so log in. You're a new student or former student. You're going to log in, put that passcode in, and I have a whole bunch of classes. You may not have all these classes here. I have a whole bunch of classes listed here. And what I want is this one right here. Now, those of you enrolling, you need this number right here, 12297 right here. 12297 is the course ID number. That's the number ID that you need. Now I have the final. Let me give you the student view of things here, because that's what you have. All right, when you log in, this is the student view. This is what you'll see when you log in. Notice the assignments are all given already here. Here's 1.4. It is due next week, Friday. All right, so let's take a look at the calendar first. This is going to be a long video here, but once you see it, you'll be good here. You can stretch out these weeks, the full entire semester if you like. Just click on 19. It will give you the whole entire semester of stuff. You can kind of see what you need to do. Here's your chapter 10, and then your final is going to happen sometime this week right here. All right. So there it is. If you want to see the whole semester right away, right in front, you can scroll backwards as well if you like and go forward here. But normally students like to see the 4-week view. It's not that big. You can kind of see what's coming up. I totally advise you to be ahead of the schedule. You don't want to be doing 1.4 on Friday of next week. You want to be doing 1.4 2 or 3 days before it's due. General rule of thumb, for students that I've found and I talk to, if you're a week ahead of the class, you're doing great. You want to stay right about a week ahead of the class. All right, since this is online homework, you probably want to download this right here. It's called the Answer Entry Guide. All right, so when you click on it, it'll tell you how to enter questions. And we have something called a math quill. If you ever wrote math stuff in Microsoft Word has something like that too. It's called Math Type. You click on it, and it's just an easier way to enter all the stuff mathematically that you don't normally deal with a lot here. So if you deal with fractions here, there it is. Exponents, square roots, any kind of root, absolute value, parentheses, the pi symbol, the infinity symbol, and the does not exist. This would be the no solution answer. All right, and then you can use arrow keys to go back and forth. You do have to click the save button. If you don't click the save button and get out of the window accidentally, it just all disappears. So make sure you click the save button here. But you want to download this here. It's going to give you sort of like ways to enter equations and stuff. There's some tips here. All the operating symbols. So for multiplication is the star. It's the shift 8 key if you need it here. That's the way we do multiplying. Again, a lot of good notation. You may want to spend a little time or maybe have it next to you as you're doing the homework, especially in the beginning part. Now this one, the functions, remember how if you bring up the math quill, you really don't need all these operations here, like the square root, for example. Let's take that one. The square root symbol, you can use the math quill, click on this, and you can start typing in. It's going to look just like you were typing stuff in. All right, so you don't need to learn the math language. This is all the symbols. This is math language right here. You can use the math quill, or if you want to, you can learn the math symbols right over here. So for instance, you can click on the pi button on the math quill, or you can put pi for pi, and it'll do the same thing right over here. So how to enter fractions, how to enter mixed numbers, linear expressions. This one's a big one here, rational expressions. When we get to chapter, I think it's 5. Careful when how you use parentheses with rational expressions here. All right, but maybe have it handy next to you as you do this. All right, that's the answer guide. All right, so underneath each of the chapters, you're going to find a little ebook. Let's talk about that first. Ebook is really the exact same thing as the textbook that you have already. It goes to a different website. It's called Math TV. And as long as you're logged in on the XYZ homework site, you're going to also be logged in here. Sometimes it glitches on you. So sometimes it says you do not have access. And you have to put in the same access code and course ID number that you had previously, and then it works well. So keep that handy. 1.4, that's the first section we're going to do. So let me go to it. So really you don't need a physical textbook in your hand because you have an ebook. Now if you need a physical textbook in your hand, absolutely go get one. Alright, but once you sign up for the XYZ homework account site, you have your ebook textbook. Now I personally like to have a textbook in my hand. That's just me. I like to be able to flip pages. I like to flip back and forth real quick here as opposed to trying to scroll on something here. Alright, so there's your 1.4 book, textbook, and if you scroll down right here, notice all the examples here. One advantage that this has, it has, this is what the author, here's the author, Mr. McKeague. He's the one that started this company here. You have basically 4 people explaining how to do that example. So if you read it, you're like, I really don't understand. Then you can have these 4 people explain it to you. Sometimes there's one in Spanish. There it is, Anthony. He'll do a Spanish explanation of the problem here. So that's cool too. Anyway, so you have teachers. Now you have 4 teachers plus me. That's 5 teachers in the class. You guys will do great. Alright, and then also the homework page. Yes, this does have the homework page. If you keep on scrolling and scrolling all the way down, usually it's the last 2 pages or so, and you get to this part right here. So there's your problem sets. So if you want to try these, I know this is an online class, but if you want to try just for practice, you can try these for practice and see how well you do, all right, in that. All right, but let's move on to the online homework then, because that's what we want to concentrate on. All right, that was the ebook. But how do you get to the online homework? Well, you can get one of 2 ways. You can open up the chapter, and underneath the chapter, you're going to have this little link right here that'll take you to the homework. You also have some extra videos here. So this is videos from the author itself. More on factoring, because factoring is such an important concept. Those of you that did stuff in Math 61 know. Hopefully your math teacher said. Factoring is very important. You better know that before you get to Math 63. Okay, so there's more videos here if you need to look at some. You can click on here and that takes you to the link. But I found that most students, what they do, they go to this calendar and they click on the date that it is due, and then the same link appears over here. So you can click on here. It's easy. 2.4, there it is. 2.2, there you just click on the due date, and then these are going to be their chapter exams. All right, so 1.4, go for it, click on it, and then we go from there. All right, notice you're going to have about 15 to 20 problems each section that we do, and you don't have to do them in order. You can do them in any order that you like. When you click on here, sometimes you'll have this little up arrow, and this is what we're talking about, the math quill. You can click on the up arrow, and I'm going to enter a completely wrong answer. I'm going to put 4/5 here and save it. The preview button is a cool button as well. Click on it to make sure that what you entered is what you wanted to enter. And you have one of 2 choices. If you're getting really stuck with this, you can message the instructor. I'm going to ask you guys not to use too much of this. I mean, if you really are stuck, I'm going to try to ask you guys to post this to the forum and see other students answer those questions for you. But if you're emailing me about every single problem, that's going to be a problem. They'll have a little email conversation with you here. But on the ones that you really are stuck, you did. That's what I'm going to ask you here. Did you look at the lecture notes? Did you take the lecture notes? Did you look at the YouTube lectures? Did you read the book before you started this homework? All right, but let me submit it wrong. Okay, notice you do have one of 3 attempts to get this right. So on the homework, you have 3 attempts to get the right answer. And if you don't, then it just becomes nothing. I would advise you, though, to go to the YouTube channel. And because there's some homework stuff here already, search for Math 4B. click on this little munchkin right here, gray box with a white M, and go to Math 63 lectures right here. And before you even start the homework, notice you do have some homework. It's chapter 1, section 4, the XYZ homework numbers 1, 9, 13, and 15. These kind of quick videos I made because these are the problems students were having in the textbook. Let me go to theater view, easier. And so I will do those. I'll do number 1, I'll answer it, because sometimes it's more like an input issue. In fact, with this one, it is an input issue. So number 1 on the homework is when you enter the problem itself, it has to be in terms of a multiplication between the two pieces here. We can just let me go through number 1, because number 1 is the tough one to put in. And so you got to do a Shift 8 to bring up the multiplication symbol. That's what students get mixed up the most. This is what it looks like when you plug it in. Click the preview button. In fact, I advise you not to put it in this way, right? You can use the math quill, or you can put it up this way as well. Click the preview button, like, yeah, that's what I want. And sometimes when you click the preview button, it will check your answer as well, because it always calculates the answer, so you do have a little bit of an advantage here. Alright, so look at the math videos, especially the XYZ homework videos, before you even begin the homework. It'll help you out tremendously before you start putting in stuff. You have 3 attempts per problem to get that correct. Alright, back to the XYZ homework stuff. And then the chapter exams. How are they different from the homework? Let's jump to them. Alright, first of all, you do have a limited amount of time. You have a 3-hour limit, which you need to do, in this case, 23 problems. And then you have 2 attempts to do it in. And you can't post them to the forum, and you can't ask me about it either. So this is like you're taking a test for chapter 2. That's what you're doing. And so get as many resources as you can. Get ready to go. Once you click on it, the time starts. So you have 3 hours to do these questions right here, and they're all going to come from chapter 2, and then of course it's going to come from chapter 3 on the next go around. So be mindful of all that right there. All right, and hopefully that sums it up. There's all the stuff for the XYZ homework account. We're going to go through chapter 7, 8. We're going to skip chapter 9 because there's just not enough time, and then if we have time, we'll do chapter 10 in this class here. So hopefully that helps you and lets you see what we're going to do. The grade book is also going to be here. I don't have any grades in it yet, but to know your score in the class, I'm not going to use the Canvas site. I'm going to use the grade book that's in here, because your online homework, all the homework is going to be in here. So basically by the end of semester, it is a weighted score. So it's 200 points for online homework. It's 200 points for the final, 200 points for the midterm, 200 points for the chapter test. So hopefully that at least sets you up. Please email with any questions that you have so that you know what I can help you with.